Hello, welcome back. This is Lorenzo here, and here's another game of the Platinum Newbie. Now, before going into this game, let the probes do their thing, no worries. Before going into this game, I was thinking, what am I going to practice mainly? If I'm up against a Zerg, easy, just the same as all the other games. I'm going to do Forge Fast Expand and get that build down scratch. In my last game against a Terran, I did the Mothership Core and 2 Stalker Pressure, which gives you a little bit of breathing room to go into any tech you want. You can base it on scouting with react to what you see when you move out with the Mothership Core and those 2 Stalkers. Quite a nice opportunity to get some intel in, do some damage maybe, and then decide your play from there. I do like playing reactionary and just going on the fly based on what is seen. Against the Protoss, I usually go 3 or 4 gate, do some early pressure, and then see how the game develops. So I had decided these are the 3 things I'm going to do. Lo and behold, this game my opponent is of course a random player. So I was kind of thrown off. I think let's put this first pylon here, so if it's a Zerg I can still do the Forge Fast Expand. And hope I scout him, see what he is before any decision points come up. So here I'm sending the probe. I think this map has spawns on the same side disabled, and so it can be up, it can be on the right, on the top, or the bottom. So here I do find him, and he is Terran. So I'm now at 13 supply, which means the money I had, it was quite high. It was at 300, which threw me off a little bit because I was going to go for a 14 gateway, but then I did go for a 14 gateway, but I'm not sure anymore if that was actually a nice build. Having my buildings out here in the front against the Terran is not something I'm very happy about. But hey, the pylon was here, so better a gateway than no gateway. And I'm thinking here, I'll make my tech structures here near the base and make somewhat, well, not a wall off, but have a gateway here and keep my units here. So if he does push, maybe I'll not immediately lose these. So here's another gateway going down. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I do this. Why do I do these things? I just got so confused by the random player. I should have waited for this gateway to finish and then make a cybernetics core. Making the cybernetics core now, but it's sloppy. This is sloppy play again. I have gas. I've got some guys on gas, and I think I'm gonna try to make some stalkers. Well, first is that obviously, and a mothership core, and do a somewhat belated version of that 2 stalker mothership core early push. Which making an early push later, not a big fan. You can see I'm confused in this game, and it's showing in the crispness of my play. Basically now I've lost all the feel for any timings, and I'm just afraid, so I try to get units out as quickly as possible. Which is not a good way of playing, not a good way of thinking at all. Try to remain composed and get a feel for your game at all times. Not something I did in this game. Just the player being random threw me off my mind game completely, which is very apparent in the shoddiness of this opening build. In more happier words, in other words, something else happened today to me on the day. You might have noticed my name in Starcraft is Chevron. It's just a word. There's no awesome story about that. When I first installed Starcraft 2 and had to make a username, I was watching a lot of Stargate, and one episode it had the guy that yells Chevron 1 encoded, Chevron 2 encoded, blah blah blah. Chevron 7 locked, and then the warp gate happens, or the Stargate happens. And he in that episode he was having an interview, and he says, "Yeah, that's basically all I do. All these guys, they go to different planets, and they shoot things, and they develop things, and all I do is yell Chevron 1 encoded." So I thought, Chevron, that's a cool word. That'll be my Starcraft name. So, not a big story there. Chevron is my name. The story that I'm trying to segue my way into is that I was on the street. I was in a hotel. My job is I'm a sales rep and a representative, and I sell things to our guests. So I spend a lot of time in hotel lobbies. So I was standing around there wearing my uniform, and this guy comes up to me, wearing an official-looking suit, and he goes, "Hey, are you Chevron?" I'm like, "What?" I get, oh, what's this? I'll finish that story in a bit. There's lots of Marines coming here, and I've got some Zealots and 3 Stalkers. I think I should be able to take this, but the Zealots, of course, they are taking hits because they're melee, and these Marines are ranged, and that's never a nice thing. So I'm trying to do damage with the Stalkers and not have my Zealots die at the same time. Here, my mothership core doesn't have the energy for time warp, which is really unfortunate because that would be so nice on those marines. In the meantime, my money is getting quite high. I don't have the gateways to keep this up. I was trying to go for a robotics facility, and here I make a massive error in judgment. I'm thinking I can clean this up easy. My stalkers, they can just kill these marines, and then I'll be safe. You can see nothing is further from the truth. These marines, in fact, are devastating my 3 stalkers that remained, and they can now just take out the pylon. This stalker does manage to do some damage because these marines were already hurt, but now they get reinforcements, and that stalker is being chased away. Before this gateway is already unpowered. The stalker is not progressing. So there's a 90% done stalker. I do cancel it to get the money back. As you can see, I've got almost 1,000 minerals, and this is not because I'm not doing anything, because all my production structures have been killed, and I don't have anything left really to spend my money with. So all I have is a bunch of probes, and there's marines in my base. Oh look here I'm spending the money. I'm making gateways and pylons here to well, to do something at least. Here's the probes trying to desperately kill the marines. They do manage to kill a few, but as is more than obvious, this is a loss right here basically. The pylon goes down, all the buildings lose power, and I'm thinking about throwing down a few gateways, getting a few surprise zealots out, but really that's just prolonging the inevitable and not very sportsman. It's not characteristic. Hello words of great sportsmanship. So I try to move the probes to my second base. I do make a nexus here, but only about 4 or 5 of them make it, and the marines, they're having a gun party, and there's not a whole lot I can do against this. So at this point I think I'm gonna GG out in just a few seconds. So let me continue with the story. There's the GG. And unfortunately, another loss for me. This is quite a short game, so let me load up the next replay immediately, and we can have a look at that, how that went. So against another Terran, on Klontas Meyer this time, by the name of Socrates he goes. Anyway, this loading screen gives me the opportunity to finish my story. So I was standing in this hotel lobby, and this man in a suit came up to me. Let's go back to my perspective. Yeah, so this man in a nice suit comes up to me and says, "Hi, are you Chevron?" So I'm completely flabbergasted. I don't answer him for like 5 seconds. I'm like, are you recognizing me from a stream? I'm not talking. My face isn't on the stream. How do you know who I am? I get 100 views per video, if that. So I shouldn't be famous. What's going on? A few seconds later, I realized that Chevron is actually the name of a big travel agency as well. They also have sales reps everywhere. So this guy, he mistook me for a colleague from a different company. Not very interesting, but it made for a double take on my part. Like, what? Yes, I'm Chevron. No, I'm not Chevron. I'm with other guys. So that's the story for today. As we follow this probe, let me tell you something else. I've learned a bit about Starcraft, this game we're watching right this second, from day 9. He's given me some tips, and surprisingly, quite a few of these tips they do apply to sales. So I'll be sitting down with some guests and trying to sell them things, having the sales conversations, and I have to convince them to buy stuff from me. And I find myself using Starcraft wisdom, strange as that may sound. For instance, the adagam that Day 9 has popularized, or at least he taught it to me, is like, when ahead, get further ahead. If you're ahead a few units, don't try and go for the kill right there. No, instead you focus on your base. You capitalize on your advantage, and you make it so big that the opponent cannot possibly win anymore. You cannot possibly lose yourself anymore. So what does this have to do with sales, you might ask? Well, if I'm in a conversation and I'm trying to sell them a product, and I get a slight indication that they might be interested, I don't try and immediately go for the kill, so to say. I don't give them the price. I don't give them the opportunity to buy yet. First, I basically finish every tactic, every sales tool I have, every nice advantage that I can demonstrate to them, to get them invested in the product so much that they are really they are dying to buy it from me. And then when I tell them the price or the conditions, they don't even hear it. They don't mind at all. They're so far behind. I'm so far ahead. They have to do the purchase. So that's a little bit of Starcraft wisdom I use in my line of work. I thought that was funny. Right, so back to the game. This time it was not a random player, it was actually Terran. So, as I said before, I'm going to try the Mothership Core 2 Stalker pressure. And so in that build you make a gateway at 14. Immediately after make a cybernetic score and then start warp gate and chrono out 2 stalkers while you're making a Mothership Core. I've almost got the... I shouldn't have made this probe, I should have made it after the Mothership Core. But otherwise everything is going well. Because then with the probe money I could have built the Stalker immediately after the core finished, and I would have enough money for the gate research, the Stalker and the Mothership Core. As it stands it's about 10 seconds delayed. Not a huge deal, but not perfect either. We want to get these builds really down so tight that at least the first 5 to 10 minutes are as pro as possible, and then from there you can do the reactionary play that I like, and I'm quite a little bit better at than early play. I'm not so good in the early game, you might have noticed. So, second Stalker on the way, goes really quickly with that chrono boost, and the ragtag army of 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core is moving out. In the meantime I'm adding on a gateway, because with 2 gateways you really have all the options. You can go for a heavy gateway unit, pressure or all in, like 7 or 8 or 4 gateways, or you can do it 2 gates something, maybe Robo, maybe Stargate, maybe into an expansion, which can all depend on what we see here, which is really the strength of this build. This is enough to cause some problems for a player that has not built any units. It is enough to damage some Marines that don't have a bunker yet, and they're fast enough to retreat. So you can basically do a scouting. This is juicy. It's a supply depot with a supply drop way at the front. So this tells me 2 things. My opponent isn't terribly good, and I'm going to get probably going to supply block him right here. So I'm feeling quite good about this game already. He does have a bunker down and it's filled with units, but this Mothership Core, it gives vision up the high ground, so your Stalkers, they don't have to run up the ramp, they can just damage their wall, and sniping a tech lab is always nice. It won't change the game, but it might cancel an upgrade. This time it wasn't upgrading anything, but it might do something. Now this here is a bit of a mistake. Walking the Stalkers in, of course, is really stupid. Yeah. A Stalker won't win against a filled bunker. Could have taken out this Marauder here, and definitely could have taken out this Marine. But I've done my damage and I'm going back to the base. I've seen my opponent isn't going to be a threat anytime soon, so I'm feeling comfortable throwing down a Nexus and going for that expansion play. Get the Robo down to get an Observer to keep tabs on him while I do my expansion, and so hopefully I can see with that Observer if he's moving out, if he's making units, and whether or not I need to panic and build units myself. Before that's going to happen, I'm just going to stay with 2 gateways and going to make my pylons and observers and get an immortal or 2 and just focus on expanding and getting the economy going. Here's the observer, should go. Come on, observer. Go, go, go. Look, oh, here he comes with a Marauder and a couple of Marines. And well, I can just warp in 2 more Stalkers. I had a sentry and they can dispatch this, no sweat. If you look at the units lost tab, let's see, I am actually blue, so he did come out a little bit ahead, but remember that in his damage, in his units lost, there's also no wait, I'm blue. I came out ahead. Fuck that. I win. I won those 2 engagements just a little bit, mainly because of sniping that supply depot and sniping the tech lab. Those were just free kills. As I said, they won't decide the game, but if you can take them out, just go ahead and take them out. Don't rush for the bunker. If it can't shoot you, it's free, and you might entice him. You might coerce him to go out of his wall, out of his fort, and then it's usually good for you. So here with the observer, I can see he's making a bunker on the down the ramp. So this again makes me quite happy. This probe here was accidentally control grouped into the observer group, and they are here now just chilling next to each other, too afraid to do anything. I have the Immortal out. I heard him returning to serve, and I see he's just putting down his expansion. All things that make me happy because my expansion is already up and running. I saw he's going for a bunker, so he's feeling like he should be on the defensive. And I've got the Immortal, 2 gateways, upgrades going down, and my money is low, my macro is good, and I'm feeling quite comfortable. Another Immortal. And at this point, I do realize I don't really know what his army composition is going to be, but oh, I got supply block there. That's not good. Let's see. Is there even a pylon on the way? Only now do I make 2 pylons. Bit of a rough supply block, and because of that, usually when something like this happens, I decide to move out. If I feel somewhat comfortable in the game and the opponent scouts me, or I get supply blocked, or something like that happens, I move out. Why? Because at that point the mistake I have just realized, or the disadvantage to the opponent scouting me, hasn't had time yet to turn into something more serious. For instance, I did get supply blocked here, but my army would have been the same had I not been supply blocked. So I'm not sure if that line of reasoning is accurate or even useful, but that's the thought I have when I move out upon spotting a mistake I did, or upon spotting a scout from the opponent. Sometimes this leads to horrible engagements, and as you can see, it takes me a while. I'm going to make a proxy pile and wait for more units. So what I said about the supply block and it not having time to affect me, it's not true, because by now it has affected me. I'm 1 warp-in cycle behind of the ideal me that did not get supply blocked. So I have my doubts about this gut reaction upon, oh my god, it's going wrong, let's attack. Not completely sure about it, but it feels right somehow. So if you have got an opinion on that, or want to tell me how stupid I am, please do so in the comments. I'm interested in your opinions. In a previous game I noted that putting down a cannon next to the proxy pylon was a bit of a newbie move. In that game it was, because my army had just been killed and then I did it. But I think having a cannon here, it gives you a little bit of something to retreat to. If the battle is close and you are forced to retreat, you can go back to the cannon, have a round of warp-ins, and then it helps you a little bit. Force fielding the ramp here, unfortunately my line is so big it doesn't matter. I have a lot of sentries, so just put more force fields, so these guys cannot really shoot me. And then I'm going to take out the expansion here, at least that's the point. I think I saw a widow mine go down there. Against Terran I always make a point to have an observer, because widow mines that are unobserved, they can really ruin your day. At this point Socrates decides to leave the game without a GG, upsetting me greatly, but handing me a win. So that's some ladder points and some happiness for me. So you can see he had another supply depot with a supply drop on it here. How many SCVs? He did have a sizable, he had a low amount of SCVs, but it was an alright amount for one base. What else can we see? He had 2 factories, 2 barracks, 2 starports. I'm not three barracks even. I'm not too familiar with Terran, but I don't think that's any build that is considered good. Here's the widow mines that shot me once or twice. He's making a perimeter of turrets. No, this guy was not very good. Still, I won, so I'm happy. Tonight I hope to play some more games. Well, tonight, screw that, you're only gonna see this on Wednesday when I put it in the queue. So by the time you see this, I've played lots and lots more games, and more videos will be forthcoming next Friday. So hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye!